Welcome Arnoud and Uncle Kev. Good to see you guys again. And Lisa as well. Welcome Astral, Ice and Daniel as well. Let's wait a little longer for some people to join, but we made some big moves again, so interesting price action. But not really anything yet. I was looking for potential longs, but I was very busy with some other stuff. I was looking at this local demand below, but we are just front running it. But we have a nice like local downtrend, what we had with daily low, daily high, both created during the Asia session, and then London as usual was yeah, non-existent basically. But we had this local downtrend, slow pullback, which is what we like, and then we had this 5-minute downtrend, which was broken back to bullish right here. So this could have been a local, yeah, like a local long. However, before this move came up, we were already pretty high up. So I was looking at this demand potentially for a reaction into the new highs, because I still expect that either the low or the high gets taken out, but I'm leaning more towards the high getting taken out. But yeah, not really a super clean setup or anything. It's just an internal 5-minute break. And the only reason was that we came into this low very aggressively, and we had some signs of absorption at the low. So my reasoning was that oftentimes when you have such a deep move and then a big wick like this on the 4-hour crazy wick, but more often than not, you retrace such a wick for at least 50%, oftentimes a little bit more to yeah, grab or like clear that the wick and then push higher. So I was looking at that move. And if we look at it from the VIP levels, and price came into the 7-2 and then broke 5-minute structure. So that's pretty clean. So I think this is our daily low, that this is the higher low, that we will travel into new highs. So maybe if we get this, I'm interested in a long. Other than that, should not forget main trend is still down. And yeah, if we just look at the structure, what is still most likely is that maybe you get this, but the biggest level I'm watching is around 68K. So I have an alert at this local demand, and then biggest level is 68K. There new shorts can take place. So let's see. First, let me welcome Zlatan, Kijos, and HDOP. Welcome to the stream. Kijos, so eager for some ranges to form. Yeah, same. Like, what I would really like, right now we have this potential higher low, but during the whole downtrend, we have been basically just bleeding down slowly, and then eventually here we started accelerating lower. But we reached a pretty big level. A lot of liquidity has been taken. Like yesterday we talked about that 65K, where a lot of liquidations were resting, which is around here. And then we can also see that once that liquidity got taken, it flushed lower. But this is the first time we start to form potentially some sort of nice range. It was all very small and locally, but like this could be the start of a nice range to work with, from our daily low to our daily high, right here. So that's what I'm looking at right now. See if we form distributions for shorts or accumulation for longs. I missed this local long, but we can still look for potential trades. Other than that, I've been mostly busy today with developing some the start of our merchandise. So the coffee mugs, the t-shirts, the creasels stuff will come later. But right now, like the journal is almost ready. So before I will go vacation, I will share it. Big thanks to Arnold for helping me with yeah, making sure the it gets saved on your device. That was the only problem with it, but that one is, as far as I know, now tackled. So then you can just it saves automatically after few trades, and then we can start monitoring our trades in that. And in my opinion, it looks pretty good. But then I also implemented some things of the what I normally use for the order flow, which is like delta. So I've created something that shows the delta, increased delta bubbles together with the volume candles again. So that shows aggression. And that way we can see it all in TradingView, which is a lot easier than flip-flopping all the time between TradingView and Market Monkey. So that's nice. And it will give us a lot of extra confluence. For example, if we now have Wyckoff models and our third tab, so let's say this one takes the high, we come back in the range, and then we have tab 3, and that aligns with, for example, the other indicator I've used is a trend indicator just to show what is the dominant trend, which is right now this red line, bearish trend. And then if we get like blue candles with positive delta as our third tab, and then break it, then we have like crazy confluence for shorts. And the same is true if we have a lot of negative delta, red selling candles. We do not go lower than the range low. Then it gives a lot of extra confluence for the longs. So I'm pretty excited to put this into use, but I had to give it some time to develop it. So basically the vector are just the high volume candles where is a lot of volume happening. And what it basically tells you is like, for example, red shows increased selling. Right now we are on the low time frame, so then you have a lot of them. But on the 1 hour, it shows it more cleanly, like heavy selling, and it just shows bears are in control. So here, bears are in control, here they are in control. But what you most want to pay attention to it is when price reaches a clean demand level. For example, right here, we had a lot of liquidations right here, but price failed to go lower, which means someone is absorbing it. And then here we also got directly a bullish reversal candle, which shows that there's a lot of activity going on right here. Potential low in the making for some time. So those candles show you who's in control, but also if you go to the high and you have like big blue candles, so a lot of buying, but the price does not go higher, it shows us that there's absorption and that a big player is absorbing those cells, and then we go lower. So really glad to have that back in my trading view. This shows the delta I already said. I already had the levels like daily high, but it didn't show me the daily high and the daily low. So I've developed one myself, which just shows you daily high, daily low, which will be very beneficial for the BrighterData statistics. Yesterday I was in a call with the beta users, and what they are developing, it's crazy. We will get so many opportunities with that, with a lot of insights. It's insane. But since I'm mostly intraday trader, it all resolves around what is your daily low, what's your daily high, and now I can just very easily see what are daily high, daily low, previous daily low, weekly low, monthly low, previous daily high, Mondays low, stuff like that. So that's also a pretty nice addition to it. And then the last one is just the trend. So as you can see, you can use all those VWAPs, which are all super bearish still. But you can also, like this indicator just shows you what is the dominant trend. So right here, it was bearish. In a range, it flip-flops. So then it's not really useful. But for example, from here, from 82K, it started to be red. And since then, it basically has continued to be red. So then you just see, do not long against it. And the same is when you are in an uptrend. then it's just respect the trend until it breaks. So also a nice little addition. And for people wondering what are those dotted red levels, that is basically just the daily SP. So normally it shows it like this, where you see the daily volume profile. And then the only way I use it is to see, is there a daily naked point of control? Which, for example, yesterday we traded right there. This was the point of control, and then price broke down. If that level is not retested, then often that acts as a magnet, where price likely wants to gravitate towards. So it kind of shows where is a lot of liquidity resting. And today, like, we are above it. So this is the daily point of control, currently above it. So that's, if we retest it, it's bullish. But we have one from yesterday and one from Wednesday, aligning with this supply and these anchored VWAPs. So this is 68K is really a big level to look for potential rejections. And if we flip it, that's a really big sign. But until then, yeah, doesn't make sense to call for bottoms until it's too clean. And if we look at the MMT, what Kijos already said yesterday, we have quite a lot of, like here at the bottom, we can also see, like, look how much action happened here. A lot of buying as well. So this higher low looks really good, which is why I was looking for longs here, but I just missed it. But let's show the liquidation heat map. You can see quite some bright coloring up here around 68 to 60 to like 70K. So this is where a lot of liquidity is resting right now. So we have some liquidity below us, also below the current low I see. So here's liquidity, and then there's a lot of liquidity to the upside. So those are, like, from a liquidity perspective, this is a PY, and above it around 68K, which is around here. Basically this whole box is a big liquidation cluster. So eventually market makers just move from liquidity to liquidity. So it makes sense to eventually get there and then see if we can get above it, or it's just liquidity grab and then down for potential shorts. For now, I'm just watching how do we respect this local range. First time in a while, we do have a potential nice range in the making. So let's see how that develops. An alert at the range high, which is also the 1 hour downtrend. So this is also an interesting level. These trading view indicators look crazy good. Yeah, I'm also pretty hyped about it, how it's now all in one place. It's I'm super hyped to trade. Unfortunately, had almost vacation, but it definitely looks good. Welcome, Sudo. HTTP, how do you get the indicators? Yeah, I've tried, I think the levels is live. I will try to get them all live. But there was, I had some, I was not paying too much attention to it yet, but I think I can just publish them all, and then you guys can all duplicate them. And if that does not work, I can just share the scripts. So I will see if I can just publish them. Like the levels one is live. Let me see if it's. Oh look. Yeah. So if I don't know if you guys can see them as well, but I have like DDT, DD trading delta aggression, DDT trend. Oh, and the only one that is live is DD trading key time levels. I will try to get the others live as well. If that does not work, I will just share you this. You can copy paste it, and then you can also use them. So more and more things are slowly but surely looking better and better. Kijos has the levels. Good, clean. And I can just update them. So, but I wanted to keep it clean with just a few levels, because you can also add like weekly open, daily open, previous weekly mid-range and all that stuff. But for me, that's all not really important. I'm mainly interested in just daily low, weekly low, monthly low, the weekly high, daily high, because that works with the statistics, and then we can combine them. So that's the main reason why I wanted to keep it clean. And the others, yeah, it looks pretty good. So I haven't looked too much at the chart besides on Bitcoin a bit. And USDT, what is USDT doing? Yeah, so USDT made this crazy move. We cleared out all. Let's go to the 12. We completed the Model 1 with this move, took all liquidity and came into wick supply right here. So this is like a major wick, and that also acts as supply, because if you move into it and directly sell off, it means that sellers are present here. So price came into that level, and right now we see a reaction from that level, but the high time frame remains super bullish until proven otherwise. So similar as what we have on BTC, we can also here draw a range, which is basically our daily high to our daily low, and see how this develops. But this is bullish until proven otherwise. So we can again look for potential distributions, but here you can also see the blue dotted line. This is just the dominant trend until proven otherwise. So I'm just looking at range low, range high, and see how it develops. But yeah, we have seen some crazy moves. Very bearish, and yeah, curious how it further develops. But quickly want to go to gold, because I have not really looked at it, but it seems to follow plan. Let's clean it up. So we had, yesterday I was looking at that Model 1 with this range, but that range was not really clean. So after we made this move yesterday, I was not looking at it anymore. But we eventually swing filled that low right here, and then broke 1 hour back to bullish, which was pretty clean. And after that, I had my long POI in this local demand below this liquidity. I hoped to see this and then higher, but price already broke higher. So right now, let's quickly go to the 1 hour to see how it looks. So I mentioned how this was like the key level to hold, because this was also our FIP retracement. So if you have a bullish move, then price can make retracements, but like the 7.2 to 7.8 is your lowest level you want to see the higher low form. Otherwise, if you go lower than that, it shows weakness. But price held exactly at that demand and fib level, and then broke 1 hour back to bullish. And now locally, we have like a second internal breaker structure, so an eyeballs. So locally, we had basically low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Technically SFP, break, higher low, higher high. So we can watch if this turns into a higher low, or still gives maybe a sweep and then up. That is what I'm mostly interested in. And then it can look kind of like it's ugly, but 1, 2, 3. Maybe something like this. That would keep the uptrend intact. So that is what I'm interested in, but I directly remind myself it's Thursday, and gold always delivers setups on Friday. And tomorrow is Friday, so it would not surprise me if that's the case again. But what's clean is that we have this internal uptrend, higher low, higher high. So that means that this is our range demand. basically. So this can just be a higher low for a higher high. So let's see if we have some more refined levels. I would say this is already more refined. And this looks really nice. This, however, is a nasty sweep. Okay, so this is not 15-minute structure, but it's 10-minute structure. Swing filled it. Breaking this is not, yeah, it's not really good. But yeah, I like to. We have some supply created as well. Yeah, I do like this this level. Purely because we have the 1 hour structure. High, higher low, higher high. So this can just be a higher low for a higher high. If we continue higher. Some nice liquidity resting up there. So what do we have? Yeah, let's see. If we get it moved back in, I want to see clean triggers, like maybe a local range, and trade it from there, and then to take a long for higher. But what I don't really like that much is that we broke up here, had structure, swing filled that high, and now break structure back to bearish again, which is if you have a strong trend, that's not really what you want to see, because it shows that you failed to make a new high, which is a sign of weakness, and now you break structure back to bearish. So that can also be that you kind of had this as manipulation and then go down again. Also because we have a lot of liquidity generated there. So a bit 50-50. I don't have a super clean bias, which is why I want to see either a accumulation or something like structure, like this. And if you have that clean break, then it's worth a long. But if we spike up and we show weakness right here, then I'm also interested in shorts. To me, it's a bit 50-50. I don't like this price action. So let me just put an alert at both levels and see how price reacts if we come into it. And then go back to crypto. What is BTC doing? Welkom Theo and Philip. Good to see you guys. So BTC, let's put it on. Yeah, I really like how this range is developing, so we can watch how we react. 1 hour trend, so that's the red line, has clearly been resistance since start of the week. So you can get bullish right now, but it does not make too much sense as long as we stay below that level. Get above it, that would be the first real sign of strength. But yeah, into proof and otherwise, each distribution is still higher probability to take compared to shorts. So keep that in mind. Hype has seen, I think it was, what is his name? Arthur Hayes. He said he sold his whole bag which caused some panic and maybe his selling also. But it's now showing some weakness because we have this 3-hour structure, which is high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and then basically higher high. And if we apply the rules exactly, then it's not yet a break because we wicked it right here, which is the SFP. And then if we look at it from here and draw it, then price gave a slight break of structure. So it's not technically good, boss, but overall it's starting to show some weakness for the first time in a while. So I'm watching if we come back up. What we do. Like the bullish case is maybe, let me look at it. If we clean it up, like if we come up already right here, then I'm interested in shorts. Feel that magic big 4-hour gap, then I'm interested in shorts. The bullish idea would be more like some sort of a PO3 idea. Which could be, given the crazy strength, manipulate just again a lot of buyers. And then if we form some sort of an accumulation here, maybe tap that remaining demand below and then just continue higher. Like everyone is now looking again for shorts, probably. But yeah, these are the two scenarios I see on hype. Depends a bit what we do first. If we already spike higher, like this is too short for good good manipulation. That's too short in duration for the big players to fill their bags if they want to push it into new highs. But if we stay longer here and do not break lower, then it can be a sign that they are just accumulating again for higher. So it depends. If we first go down, I'm interested in longs. If we already spike up, then I'm interested in short. For a simple kind of lower high, and then maybe from here we start a bigger downtrend. Who knows? But this is pretty key level, because if we do not hold it, then on the high time frame it can start to look pretty heavy. But it's been several times that hype looks a bit heavy and it just pushes higher. So let's see. Please do get CHF looking for shorts. Maybe I don't like that pair. I'm not gonna look at it. I've no idea about it. Arthur, sure, you made a mistake. You roll back up hype. Then again, yeah. So the thing is, everyone thinks Arthur, but if you look back at his calls over the past few years, they are shit as fuck. So what he says or what he does should not be on any influence because he is often wrong. Like if you look back at what he always calls, it's terrible. So yeah, for hype, looking at either shorts or long depends a bit on what we do. Solana took out the high time frame low, but looks horrible. Like here, it swept the high and then directly went down. But this, I'm not looking at it from an accumulation perspective. So to me, this is not step 2. Simply because if you look at the volume profile, this is way too high. The value area low is up here. So in my opinion, this is most likely. So yeah, to me, does not look good. And what I showed yesterday as well, I think we eventually hit this lower box. Or we need to accumulate very well here, but look, this looks heavy as fuck. And then we can put on, for example, the trend here. And then you see trend is super bearish, interproven otherwise. we have daily point of control right here, and like daily supply up there. So maybe if we take the low and accumulate here, it can be a long, but overall I expect lower in the end. Tao is reaching, like it's crazy how fast this market can change, but it already reached that low demand level. Let me clear it up a bit. Around 200. But also here the structure is looking heavy. We have liquidity build up here, a bit similar as what we had here. And then super clean demand below that. And if we just look at structure, then this either needs to enter a super clean down or like sideways price action to give a reversal. But right now it looks like, yeah, it looks super heavy. But as shared earlier, high time frame, anything around here, in my opinion, are gifts on the long time. So just a matter of patience right now and waiting what it will do. Locally, it has quite a nice liquidity trail, but it doesn't mean anything until you get something solid to work with. But let's say price takes that wick again, gives a bit of sideways, then this can be taken quite quickly. However, until you change your trend, a trail doesn't matter anything. Thanks for reminding me I'm holding APT. There was some good hype on APT a few months back, but I have no idea what they're doing right now. So ETH finally cleared the ultimate low, or not the ultimate low, but the range low from February. Completed this ugly ass distribution. But also here this, even if this resolves into an accumulation, it's gonna take weeks. Like this type of price action doesn't do this. What it can do is maybe push up and then come down, and then have maybe like, if this is going to resolve into an accumulation, then timing wise, you are looking at around July, August to form the bottom, which would kind of align with the 4-hour cycle, where each summer is always shit for crypto. But the 4-year cycle would imply again that around October or like August, October, we bottom out and give a reversal. So even if this is low, I think it will take quite a long time before we resolve much higher. And also, if you look at it from like the 3-day, this looks pretty heavy, or at least it needs a lot of time to look good again. And even on the weekly, yeah, never become too bearish at the bottom, but these weekly candles, it's not really looking super bullish. But let's just play it always level to level. And what do we have more locally? Just purely look at structure. We have low, lower, high, lower, low. So anything below this is also just still bearish. Maybe we can look at it from this range. And see what happens if we take it low again. and then, for example, take the low, break internal structure, look for model 2, then this could squeeze higher to just take out the late shorts, which are sitting comfy in their positions. But overall, yeah, high time frame is and remains super bearish, as you can see here also with the trend. So let's see. For now, everything looks heavy, but it always does near the lows. And that are basically all the coins. So two more things we can look at is what is locally happening with the order flow. We had a lot of action right here. So that's a PY if we return to it. We also, like, funny thing is always, you can see here, like, what is happening. If you just look at the naked chart, you can also see it's like it came into that VIP level from this low to that high, and we created 30-minute demand. So there was clean buying right here, which means that if price comes back up or comes into that level, this is where we can potentially look for a higher low. But we have to see how that develops. We can also already go to the highs. We can have a look at the here. Spot is not really doing anything. So that if you form like a bottom, you would like to see a spot increase. That's not what we see. Open interest is also just more or less flat. Not really how you form a confident bottom. And the rest is also pretty boring. So not too interesting. But we can have a look at the BrighterData. What is it saying? So if we look at the historical outcomes, then most of the days with a similar price action closed bearish. 67% took out the low later, 25% took out the high later. Okay, so that's pretty bearish, but we are close to the daily high, so that can change quickly. But similar days in the past, they show that we would go lower and take out the daily low. So keep that in mind. And on the weekly, how many weeks would take out the low later? That is also pretty high still. 75% of the weeks would make a new low later in the week. And that's simply because we have a bearish week. So our high is on Monday, our current low is at Thursday. But oftentimes you form your high or low early in the week, and then late in the week, like Friday or Sunday, you form the low. So this could still go lower as well, which is simply the also in alignment with the trend. But I've seen yesterday that this is just the top of the iceberg with what they are building, and we can do a lot of stuff in here. This is just the very start, so I'm excited for what they are building. We can use that very well in our trading. We can even at some point have like let's say this is a range, and we take out the high, tap 2, and then we form tap 3. Then we can at some point say or ask that this dashboard, how likely is it that this high holds and that we go to the low? And then you can, for example, see like if you take out the high during New York hours, then it's a very strong high, and then we can have extra confluences for our Wyckoff models. So that stuff, it's gonna be crazy. For now, I'm just watching this range. I'm I have a PY right here. So if we come into it, might long it. But overall, I just want to mainly stick to the original setups, which is just the range. So if we start taking out the high, main trend is still bearish right here. So if I get triggers for a short, I will just short it back into new lows. If then later in the week, like if we look at statistics, the most likely is that like daily stats show that taking the high is not that likely, but I think it can happen. That we maybe distribute, get like a model 1 or model 2, or if we break it already, it can also just be 2-tap, which will be like this. Then make new lows into Friday, and then either Friday make a low, or Sunday, and then from there, I'm interested also in accumulations from this range. So for the first time in a while, we have a solid range to work with. So that's one I'm looking to play. Range is developing. But yeah, like if you look at the anchored VWAPs, this is just heavy sell pressure. So let's see how it resolves. But yeah, this week it has been a crazy week. No short triggers, just continuously down. I only took one trade, which was a loss. So that also been building or working on quite a lot of stuff beside it. So not actively trading. I also see a little supply zone right here. So let me read the chat, and if you have any questions, let me know, and I will answer them. But beside that, I don't have too much to say. Like BTC looks pretty interesting with that this range developing. Gold looks pretty. Okay, this is what I said. This looks now more bearish than bullish to me. Which was this trigger, swing fill, break of structure. Now this looks to me more like a deviation, and that this might resolve lower again. So lowering this alert a little lower might give a short. But beside that, most alts look like they need more time. Yeah, already shared my idea on hype. If we accumulate interest in longs, if we push back up interest in shorts, trend is now flipping bearish, so we can look to potentially join that trend. So yeah, if we accumulate potential longs, but until proven otherwise, this is bearish as fuck. And the same is basically true for all the other alts. ETH. So yeah, just remaining patient, waiting for a good setup, and then maybe we still end the week in green. And otherwise, I'm just patiently waiting and working on improving like some indicators. My website's almost ready, so you can have a look at the website. Do some coaching and recording the Wyckoff videos. I recorded some videos and then I put them in a folder, deleted the rest of my thing, and then I found out that the folder wasn't saved. So I've deleted a lot of the videos, so I have to record them again, which is painful, but part of the game. So let me read the chat. If there are any questions, let me know. If you want me to look at a coin, let me know as well. Probably just a crypto coin or like silver or anything, not forex pairs like CHF, stuff like that. Airdrop. For so many airdrops though, almost a waste of time. I've been so long in crypto, I've never received an airdrop. Shame for me. DNA. I saw some. I read anything about it. I'm not sure what I read, but I believe they had a new deal with, was it Coinbase? Let's first look at it with a naked view. Brutal chart. I would say this is your base, just your horizontal base, and price right now is just below it. So this looks heavy with even weekly supply up there. On the daily, yeah, looks also heavy. Here you SFP the high. You don't have a clean bottom formation. There was demand here, which that was nicely mitigated. The price pushed directly in this supply and is now rejecting heavily from it. This is an 80-hour pure pump and dump. Yeah, that looks heavy locally. Creating big supply. You also have demand. So let's delete that. Let's delete that. That's one big supply zone, but this is the more refined one we'll look at. Yeah, this is nasty because this looks like pure supply mitigation and then strongly sell off. But you have solid demand right here, and price is currently in some demand. You had some sort of an accumulation right here, which broke to bullish. Mm, yeah, you can watch this low demand. This is your like accumulation, your deviation, and then strong push up. Likely insiders just knew that the announcement was coming, profiting from the push up, but getting a huge sell-off right afterwards is not really a strong sign. But what would make me interested is if it holds here and then goes a bit more sideways, and then this is a pretty good POI to look for longs, just because it's such a clean demand zone. It's the range point of control, so it could be some sort of a mitigation continuation. But then price first needs to go sideways, because this is way too aggressive up and then way too aggressive down again, which is more like just a news pump and then direct sell-off. But if you go sideways right here and have like some sort of an internal accumulation, then it can be nice long, or like not a nice long, but a long, and see if it can go to supply. So for the fun, I'm just gonna put an alert. See how this eventually ends. Ton. Oh, I haven't looked at that one. Yeah, that made it crazy move. And now some sort of a range. Did it? This is kind of the bigger picture of ENA, where this was kind of your accumulation and push, in which this is massive range demand, which is untested. Because technically you have, yeah, just accumulation, announcement, range demand. Oftentimes price likes to test that and then go higher. So eventually I think price can go here. Then this is your most refined demand. But you are talking about low time frame, so let's first look at it. It's always important to ask yourself, where are you forming the range? Does it make sense to accumulate or distribute here? So technically you have your low, you have your high, you swept your high, now you swept your low, but aggressive move into your tab 2, which is not really what you like to see. No. Also supply at the range high. I don't think this will eventually resolve in an accumulation, if I'm honest. I think it's more likely that this is gonna do this. Lower high for lower low into that range demand. Purely because this move is super heavy. If it was slowly, then it's better. But right now it's super heavy. But we can look and even here. This is super clean supply. You also created here a big supply zone. So a lot of overhead levels where price can reject from, which is the opposite of what you want if you're looking for an accumulation. Kind of very locally broke structure right here. Maybe you're looking at this local. Kind of. Thinking. Not a really good range yet. Yeah, you took out the low, so this demand's already mitigated. It's too high up. We have refined demand resting below here. Mm, mm. This is your extreme demand. This is your extreme liquidity. If you're looking at it, it's not a good bit deep to look at it from a local from a range, but it doesn't have to be perfect. If price comes down here, mitigates this, then I think this can indeed go towards this high. But then I think most likely scenario is that this is just eventually a lower high and then goes down. Also, like your main bearish trend is all the way up here. Bears are in control. But yeah, if you get confirmations here, this is not a weird place to look for potential long and then later on a short. But yeah, look at those volume candles. Sellers are definitely fully in control here. So the long is counter trend. The short is the easier way. But maybe in a dream scenario, you get a long for a short. That is that would be crazy. Yeah, I think that's uh, yeah. The little third gets a third tap short play. PD chart is yeah, it's one of the few that indeed has at least a second tap. So that's what we can trade according to like just our system, and the rest is indeed yeah, most of them are not giving anything super interesting. But yeah, few of the coins most trusted BTC, this local range, then hype. Look at that local either long if we accumulate or short if we already push higher. The rest simply needs more time. Uh, and then we have that yeah gold, but looks yeah that is going for the bearish plan. So like here it took the high, swing filled it high. That's your first warning sign, because if you are bullish, then you have to see it like higher low. You should print a higher high if you are bullish. If you fail to print a higher high, but instead give like such a tiny SFP and then go down, that shows that the trend is not strong. And if you then break your internal 10-minute structure directly back to bearish, that's your second sign of weakness. But to me, like this is not a short trigger to short it, but at least right now it could be returning to the PY I had earlier, which is this zone. So then I can watch, like maybe if we now hold here, range, and then tomorrow sweep into that demand PY, which is first of all start of this liquidity trail, little imbalance, and then like what is it, 30? Yeah, this 30-minute demand. And from here, I'm potentially interested in a long to just take it back up here And then maybe that's the start of a new range. So maybe tomorrow it can give a long, but it's probably late in the day that it will give a setup, as usual. So let's see. Beside that, tomorrow I will stream, but I have to do it a bit earlier than normal because I have to join a friend on a business trip. So I will be streaming at 2 p.m. Central European time, which is 2 hours earlier than normal. So that will be before New York. So I hope you guys can still be there. But yeah, I have to join him. So I have to do it a little bit earlier. But yeah, maybe before New York we can make some plans for during New York and afterwards. So it doesn't have to be too big of a problem. And then next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, still streaming. And then I have to, or not have to go, but then I go on vacation. So looking forward to that. Will be a bit less active, as said, but I have all the trust in the community that will still keep running without me. So looking forward after that to be back, and then we go full stream again. For now, I do not have much more to say. I will record the videos again, the Wyckoff videos. I will try to publish the indicators and also announce the journal next few days or before next week at least. And then all that rest means thank you guys for joining again and for still being here. Respect for that. The market is in absolute shambles. Feels like everyone is losing trust again. But I love to see the same people here still every day. Discord's still alive. So that's rare to see because most places are dead as fuck. But people here are true warriors. And as always, you will be rewarded eventually. So just remember that. It can get a bit more dark first, but eventually it will be better. So thanks guys, and speak to you guys in the Discord. Cheers.